Hey everybody, I'm Tori.
I'm Courtney, and we're your bitch pack friends.
Today we're talking about the movie that is sweeping the nation, perplexing me personally, but I'm excited to talk about it. We're talking about the movie Saltburn, directed by Emerald Fennell, starring Barry Keoghan. And Courtney, you saw it this week. What'd you
I
think?
did. Um, I loved it. I love weird movies, though. So,
Yeah,
I can see how some people would be very, afraid of this movie, but I liked it.
yeah. I liked it too. I'm genuinely surprised. Like, it's just so weird that, like, I have every person I've talked to that's seen it has been like, oh, yeah, that was so good. And I'm like, really? Like, remember the bathtub scene?
Were you
like,
there for that?
remember all the murder? like, so I'm just really, I'm surprised. And I like knew going into it that it would be weird. I knew it would be dark. I knew there'd probably be some death. I knew there'd be a lot of sex in it. Um, but yeah, so I feel like
it
my ex,
was it was not the story I was expecting, but it was the vibe I was
yeah,
expecting.
yeah. Is so what made you want to see it?
So I just read and watched Conversations with Friends,
Mm.
and it has Allison Oliver who stars in that, and I loved her in it. So I basically looked her up and I wanted to watch more of her, which led me
What?
to Saltburn.
Who does she play in Saltburn?
In Saltburn, she's his sister, Venetia.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah. So she's the star in Conversations with Friends,
Okay.
which I did end up liking. When we talked about it last week, I was like, I don't know. But it, somehow I'd love to know the psychology on this. I ended up rooting for everybody.
You ended up rooting for everybody. Did
Yeah,
they
somehow.
did it resolve in the end?
Not
Like
really. It
happy?
kind of
Happily?
ends the way normal people ends. Like what happens
Yeah.
now?
Okay. Ambiguous endings.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of get a feel for it's just this ongoing cycle, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Okay. And then is Venetia the character? Is she like this character in Conversations with Friends?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So she can act.
she can act.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely different person.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I
Hmm.
really wanted to see Saltburn. Like, I love the vibe. Like, I thought it was, like, I saw the trailer and I was like, this is a gorgeous movie. Like, you can just, like, the arts and the visuals are beautiful. But the director is Emerald Fennell, who, she wrote and directed Saltburn, but she also wrote and directed a movie called Promising Young Woman. Have you
I
heard of
haven't
that?
seen that.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
That movie is like so good, but it came out in like March of 2020, and so no one saw it.
Yeah,
And
distraction.
yeah, we were busy. So anyone who's listening who hasn't seen Promising Young Woman should definitely go see it. But it was just like,
Where can we find it? Is it on Netflix, Hulu? Where is it?
I think it's on Max, HBO Max.
Okay,
I don't know. Google it.
just look it up.
But it's worth it. Pay the $5.99 to rent it because it's very good. And Carrie Mulligan stars in that, and I just love it. I also love it when a director and an actor like become buds and they keep doing
Hmm.
movies together. So like
I like that too.
Carrie Mulligan played Pamela in Saltburn, and she has a small part, but like every time she's on, she just makes me laugh.
I guess I don't know who that is.
Um, she was the friend who was staying with them at Saltburn.
Pamela with the red
Yeah,
hair. Okay.
yeah, and they thought she was so annoying and wanted her to
Yeah.
leave, but they were like also were like, Pamela, you're the best. You're so gorgeous. You can't leave.
Yeah. But they like secretly can't wait for her to go. They're you must really want to be rid of us.
Yeah. And then when she dies later on, there's going to be spoilers. I'm sorry.
This
There's no way.
entire episode is a spoiler alert.
There's no way. She dies later on, and then the mom is like, Pamela would do anything for attention.
The mom was by far my favorite character.
Yeah.
She was a riot.
She was so cold, but so
I just love the very first scene, the very first thing that comes out of her mouth is she's meeting Barry, what's his real name? Oliver, right? Oliver
Yeah.
Quick. So she's meeting him and she's just like so relieved. She's like, thank God. She's like, beautiful eyes. She's like, I have like a complete fear of ugliness. She's like, I have ever since I was a child. And that, so that's your first meeting of her. And I'm like, this is good. this is going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah, and she carries that through of like she's like so ruthless but also like she seems so harmless, I guess. I
Yes.
don't know, it's funny.
Completely harmless. She's like this free spirit, but also just like so out of touch.
Yeah. What
Is
did you think
she
about?
so she gives me like Moira, is it Moira Rose,
Ooh,
who we talked about
yeah.
once? It's like Schitt's Creek mixed with like what was that movie where the bride is basically trying to not be murdered by her new family in this like mansion of a house? Do you remember that movie?
I don't know.
Oh my
No.
gosh. Well, it was Schitt's Creek mixed with an like a thriller.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. She did have Moira Rose vibes of just like being very self-absorbed, but also in a hilarious way.
Yes. I also loved when she's talking about this, like, it's like this huge indie song. I wouldn't know what the title of it now, but she's talking about how it's supposedly about her. And I guess the lyric in the song is like, she had a thirst for knowledge. And she's like, it couldn't have been about me. I've never wanted to know anything.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yes.
That was a good line when because she's talking about how she used to date this rock star back in the day, and they were like, that song might be about you. That was a good line.
Yeah. So a
There-
lot of one-liners in the whole movie.
yeah. What about the dad? What did you think of him?
Oh, he was boring.
He was kind of
Yeah, just he was just kind of there. But I mean, he played an important role in the movie. He's the one who eventually gets Oliver to leave.
Yeah.
But so
He
like
just writing checks.
in the movie, I was like, who is this actor? Like he looked very familiar to me. I was picturing him like angry, like hair flying.
Yeah.
And so I looked up like other movies he's been in, and there was nothing. And then it hit me, Spice World, the manager. Do you remember the manager from Spice World?
I
Same
didn't watch
vibe.
that movie, but
Okay.
is it the
Well,
same?
I don't think it's the same person. I haven't gone that far, but I spent like 24 hours wondering, who does he look like? And then
Yeah.
like driving home from dropping my kids off at school, I was like, boom, Spice World.
I hope it's him. We'll have to fact check that later.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious. But he was unremarkable compared to the mom, but he was a good supporting role of just like letting the chaos ensue, you know?
Yes. And so did Oliver have anything to do with his death? Because like from our point of view, Oliver reads it in the newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say. I feel like he probably did. I also had a friend ask me if Oliver had anything to do with Pamela's death, and I was like, probably not, but maybe he was just practicing.
Yeah, I think she was too far away for him to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and she was doing some reckless things of her own, so
yeah,
he didn't need to intervene on that.
It was pretty obvious that her like Russian lover killed her.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I get the idea that Oliver probably had something to do with the dad's death. Mm-hmm. It's curious to me why it took so long. Like several years passed between when the kids die and when the parents die. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think there was just too much. There was already too much story for them to include a plot line of him, taking down the dad.
Except at the end, he does kind of go over each death, and the dad's not in there.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Maybe he just got old.
Yeah, he just had to play the waiting game.
Yeah.
With the dad.
Yeah. It's also, I wonder if that, because I don't know. I wonder if that's supposed to be symbolic of like, so the dad is the one with the title and the money and the house. And then his wife and kids are kind of like leeching off of him. I wonder if that's like Oliver kind of like he's just taking out the other leeches.
It's like he knows they'll take out the dad on his own eventually or something.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Venetia is like the most like aware, like she's warning us basically the whole movie that Oliver is bad news. Like at one point she's like, stranger fucking danger. Like says it right to his face.
Yeah.
And then basically like right before he kills her, she's like, you're not a spider, you're just a moth. like batting up against the windows.
And she's like,
so like
I see who you really are.
Yeah, and she was the only one who could really see him.
Yeah, but nobody would have even earlier on though. Like no one would have believed her because everybody thought she was crazy and not well.
Well, even like you watching the movie, you think this family's about to eat him alive, and it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I actually rewatched it a couple days ago, and they're just like warning him over and over again, they're like, Felix is just gonna get tired of you, or like, you know, the feeling of danger is for Oliver. Like you're worried about him.
Yeah, and it's the other way around.
Yeah,
and I also, so like, at what point did you realize Oliver was like the bad news?
Oh my gosh,
boy.
This is okay. The reason I really like this movie is I feel like when Felix takes him to his parents' house and I forget exactly what the line is, but when he says like your dad's in the back, or you know, your sisters miss you or whatever, and you realize that Oliver was lying. The first time I watched that, my jaw literally like dropped open. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's a liar. Like,
Fibber. Well,
yeah.
And he painted this picture of like his dad's dad, his mom's an addict. They were both like drunks. And then it's just this like beautiful home, and his parents seem completely normal. They're a little bit like, they're like on edge seeming, but Oliver is their son. They've dealt with him. Who knows what he's put them through. And I also loved the movie. Like you get no backstory on Oliver's life before this, even after realizing like, he's full of shit. It's like, how did he get here?
Yeah.
They don't give you any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing you know about him is that he is really, really smart.
Yes. And there's something off apparently.
Yeah. But yeah, that scene for me, that was like, I was like, this is a great movie. Like, because the narration had like you said before, like they make you scared for Oliver. You kind of want to protect him. You think that Felix and his family are a threat. And then all of a sudden in that one scene, you're like, holy shit. Like this thing just got flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And then you're like, Oliver's dangerous. And I'm like, Felix, get out of there.
Run. There's a scene I really love where Felix is like, you can come stay at, you know, my family's estate for the summer. And he's like, you can leave if you want to, I promise, or something. And Oliver is like, I believed him. And so they give you this sense that like they don't let him leave, when it's really like once he's there, he's like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
It's like himself. He hasn't given himself the option to leave.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I hadn't thought about that line before. Maybe he's like, there's something in him that's compelled to stay, compelled to do all these terrible things.
Yeah. I think he wants the house. He wants the estate and the riches.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't leave. I'm staying.
What did you think about Farley, the cousin?
I didn't like him, but that was like he was an asshole for sure. And like Oliver didn't have to be a psychopath for him to be an asshole. Like even when he was just nobody, he was a dick to him. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of interesting. Like he and Oliver are kind of playing the same game of like, they're poor and they're kind of leeching off of the status and money.
Yeah.
But like Oliver is doing it so much better than Farley.
Basically, he's just better at it, and he's willing to like hurt people to get what he wants.
Yeah.
Like really hurt people.
The scene where they're doing karaoke and Farley tries to like make a fool out of him, and then Oliver's like, "Hey man, we're in the same situation.
Yeah.
Like,
this is your song too." But he doesn't feel shame in it. He's like, "Okay, I'll come finish the song."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting comparison. But like he just wasn't likable. Like he was just so whiny and
he was a little bitch.
Entitled, and I was like, send that boy away, and they finally did.
Yeah.
but the reason he got sent away is because he was doing cocaine at the party. Here's cocaine again.
He was
doing cocaine at the party, and the dad's like, get out of my house.
Well, he got sent away before that too, because So
yeah.
I don't know if he was actually doing it or if Oliver put it in somebody's ear that he was like trying to steal their stuff and sell it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so you're right. He did get sent away the first time because Oliver got in his room, got on his phone and sent that email saying he wanted to sell something.
Oh, and I completely missed that.
So he was like, he got into Farley's room to intimidate him, but also he like needed access to his phone to send the email. And then it got back to the family that Farley was trying to sell their stuff and they kicked him out.
Mm-hmm.
But then he came back to the party and he was doing coke at the party. And it's kind of fun. So then the next day when everything fell out, the dad was like, or Oliver outed Farley for doing cocaine. And then the dad was like, get out of my house. Like, we don't have time. Like, we don't have time for this nonsense. Somebody's dead. Like, like, I don't want you here. And so it was just funny that like at the end when Oliver's dancing around the house, he's like doing lines. So he's doing the same thing that Farley got. Like Farley lost because of that, and Oliver's like that's like his victory lap is like the same, like a mirror of that. So I thought that was kind of cool of like how he like beat Farley at his own game.
Right, they were pretty much doing the same thing. Oliver was just better at it, like you said.
Yeah. Do you like Oliver?
No, he's psycho.
Did
you like him before you realized he was psycho?
He's easy to feel sorry for in the beginning. I don't know if I would ever say I liked him. He's kind of a dud.
Well, he's like dorky, smart, like too smart.
Yeah, unrelatable.
Yeah, he wouldn't like me either, so we're good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It was funny to like see Barry Keoghan playing like he's like a dork, and he's supposed to be like an 18-year-old dork, right, at college. Mm-hmm. And really he's like an extremely fit 30-year-old man.
And like very cool.
Cool.
He's been seen out with like Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
Hardly a nerd.
Yeah. So it's just funny like what passed, like if you want to go to a college campus and see an 18-year-old dork, he
doesn't look like that.
He will look very different than Barry.
Very different.
So I read a couple commentaries on the movie that talked about it being like you can look at it as like an eat the rich narrative, like we hate rich people and we want them to die, or not, like, or you can view it as like Oliver being the bad guy because he's kind of like money hungry. And I think I'm sure there were people watching just like totally rooting for Barry, like hell yeah, take him down. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really like that take. Just I don't know. I just feel like eat the rich stories are just people that wish they were rich.
That's usually what I get from it.
Being like, awful.
would you still say eat the rich if you were born into a rich family? No, you wouldn't. You weren't born into a rich family. Just I don't know. Don't take it out on them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not into that. But I do kind of I like the story of like the way I interpret it was Oliver kind of like becoming a monster because he's consumed by greed and jealousy. Mm-hmm. Which is
like weird because he didn't grow up poor. The house he grew up in, or at least the one they show you, it's a beautiful house.
Yeah,
I mean it's middle class, but like, what?
They went to Greece every summer.
Yeah.
Stop complaining.
He's got it good.
Yeah. I did read one commentary that said like it's a different experience to watch it as an American versus a British person because in Britain like the classes are a lot more set. So like in America we have this idea that you can like even if you're born into poverty you can become anything. And in Britain it's like not like that. Like to have a house like Saltburn you have to inherit it. And so there's like another layer of like class difference, which I thought was interesting, but also like I can't understand it, you know?
Right. Just over in my head.
Yeah. I like the rocks thing. The when they throw the rocks, then like I thought that was like such a sweet thing, and then he like completely desecrates it by pulling out the rocks.
He
at
digs
the end.
up all the rocks.
Yeah, he's a monster.
And well, looking back, his dad wasn't actually dead, but I thought it was funny when he tries to throw the rock in for his dad and just misses the water. But looking back, you have to wonder if he missed on purpose because he wasn't actually dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene it made him look so pathetic.
I know. You can't even do this, right?
On purpose. And Felix just feels so bad for him.
Felix is like, I fucking tried.
It's such a sweet, he's such a sweet moment. It completely miffs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so would you recommend this movie to others?
For sure. Definitely.
For sure.
Not everybody.
Yeah. Not everybody. But yeah, it's just a good Emerald Fennell, she said at its heart this is like a vampire movie. And I thought that was cool. I saw that too.
That's cool. An excellent description. No vampires, but a vampire movie.
Yeah, he's just sucking the blood.
Did you see that Margot Robbie was a producer?
No.
You'll have to Google that because I'm like 99.9% sure I saw Margot Robbie was a producer. And I was like, why wasn't she in the movie? But also, what would she have played? She's too young to be the mom.
Yeah.
Too old to be one of the kids.
Yeah, she could have been Pamela.
She could have been Pamela. But we would have been sad to see her die.
Yeah.
I also saw a thing that said they were kind of responsible for Pamela's death for sending her away back to her Russian lover who she was running from.
Yeah.
She had nowhere else to go. She went back to him and he killed her.
Yeah.
All because they were sick of her.
Yeah. And they could have just sent her to another part of the house, you know?
Yeah, it's big enough. Or like, I don't know, she couldn't figure things out on her own. It sounded like she was there a while. She couldn't. That's plenty of time to figure something else out.
I'm going to transition.
Okay.
So you said earlier that Barry Keoghan, I keep wanting to call him Keegan. Keoghan is how you say his last name. He's been seeing Sabrina Carpenter.
I just saw like the headlines. I looked him up and it was like him and Sabrina Carpenter. So I was like, what? I clicked on it and it's just like, oh, they were seen out and about. They were seen sharing a kiss. So
yeah. Well, you know what Sabrina Carpenter is up to this weekend.
What's Taylor up to?
Sabrina Carpenter's hanging with Taylor in Australia this weekend.
Yeah, well, she's opening for the Eras Tour, so makes sense.
Yeah, so Melbourne last weekend and Sydney this weekend. I think Sydney's going to be pretty sick. But yeah, what's Taylor been up to?
It looks like just doing her show. So now her surprise songs have turned into mashups. And you sent me the thing where it was like she went to a Vegas club and now she's mixing all her songs.
I hate her for that.
We didn't get to see it.
I'm so annoyed. They're so fun and they're so
random.
They're just random jumbles of songs, and it's just like, how did she pick them? I love it.
But it's also like, why do we like it so much? Because we don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
So it's
just keeping us on our toes.
Mix songs together. Plus, like, I love mashups because I don't need an entire song. Like, just give me the good parts.
She's mixing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta find new energy. Was Travis in Australia?
I don't know. So I saw a headline that said she sent her private jet to pick him up and he had landed in Australia. And I didn't click on it. I always read the comments because that's where the real entertainment is. And somebody was like, this is not true. And so I don't know. Yeah.
Did you hear the news about how she sold one of her jets?
Yeah, because people were tracking it.
It's kind of smart, but I'm also like, you guys, she needs her jets, all right? It's a public service to the world that she has a private jet.
Well, and what do you expect her to like fly coach even first class? No.
Yeah. Remember this? She went to a wedding on the Jersey Shore and she basically like shut down the highway. How's she going to get into an airport?
Yes. She's the most famous person in the world. Let her have her damn jet.
Yeah. Well, I think she had multiple jets and she sold one of them. But
okay, but still, she can't fly in both at the same time.
Yeah. So how are Scott and Andrea going to get around? Like
in the same jet as Taylor.
Yeah.
But also, I saw somebody had posted like the top 10 celebrities that are putting off the most CO2 emissions or whatever, and she wasn't even on it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
a
I
good
don't know
point.
where those facts came from, but
People are bullying her.
yeah, leave Taylor alone.
I don't remember who was on the top of the list, but I'm like, who is getting around more than Taylor? Like,
Yeah.
where could
Where are
you
you
possibly be
going?
going? She's flying like to Kansas City and Singapore and back to Kansas City and Hawaii and Australia, and it's like, who is going more places than her right now?
Yeah. Or does she have like a more efficient jet? Is that even a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about jets. Let's pretend she does. Her jet is solar powered.
It's solar power. It's fuel efficient. It's electric.
Yeah. It's like the most eco-friendly jet.
Honestly, it probably is, but
I'm sure it is.
It's not good enough for the people.
Never will be.
But yeah, I think the Sydney show is going to be cool. I feel like she loves Sydney. She did the 1989 World Tour video is from Sydney.
Is it? I didn't know that.
I love that. I love that tour video.
So you know how this just popped in my head. You know how we thought Tokyo there would be like this big bang back into the tour, and there wasn't.
Yeah.
She was supposed to announce the new album in Tokyo, and so that would have been her boom back into the Eras tour, which I think would have maybe been the better option compared to announcing at the Grammys. Did you watch the Grammys?
I think that was a rare misstep of hers.
I think she was just so excited and she's so happy. She was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. I agree. And she's allowed to be excited. But I feel like she should have done something else in Tokyo.
Like some sort of surprise.
Give them a surprise song or something. Give them something special. It's her first day back on the tour after taking 2 months off.
Maybe she hates Tokyo like she hates Detroit.
That's a good point. I didn't watch the Grammys.
Well, that's the thing is like, is what?
The only award show I watch is the Oscars. Yeah.
I don't watch any of them. I used to watch them before I had kids.
Yeah. I just feel like they're bad. And it's very
kids or the award shows?
Kids are great. I'm not anti-children. Just for the record, everyone. Mom.
She can't hear you, so.
But yeah, they're very like self-congratulatory, and then there's just like all these. I only really care about there's no singer I care about right now besides Taylor Swift that's putting out music. So
true.
Like, am I gonna go watch? I don't even know who performed at the Grammys, but like I don't need to see like Cardi B do whatever she does. You know?
Same. So. I used to watch like the red carpet, and that was the part I liked, and then I would kind of just like watch the beginning of the show and then go to bed, but it just doesn't catch my interest anymore.
Yeah. I have marginal interest in like the looks. So like the next day, people who dressed really well or really badly, I like to review those.
I used to, I feel like fashion, I used to like the fashionable stuff, and now I'm just like, what is that?
Yeah. I think that means we're getting old.
It does. Same as like listening to music on the radio. I'm like, what is this garbage?
Have you heard that It's Not My Fault?
Yes, I have. From the Mean Girls soundtrack.
I freaking love that song. And
that is a good one.
I love that they sample Lindsay Lohan on it. I listen to it all the time. And I'm like, if I didn't love Mean Girls, I would think this is such garbage. But since I do love Mean Girls, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. It's like the song. Remember how that Missy Elliott song was like the Mean Girls song, the original?
Oh,
Past That Dutch or whatever it was called. So like this is that version.
Oh, man. I love Missy Elliott.
The new Past That Dutch.
If Missy Elliott performed at the Grammys, I would watch it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you know what I was gonna say? I think one thing that I remember loving about Saltburn, speaking of music, is like the contrast of the old house and the old estate, and then they played like all this modern music. Like they played the song that they play at the end. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a dance anthem. And I love that. And there's like some early 2000s songs that they play throughout. And then they're like watching Superbad and watching The Ring. And like, I thought that was
that too.
so fun. Like
Well,
how
like
they
normalize them a little bit.
yeah.
Because like usually in movies, when you see houses like this, you almost like go back in time in your head, like not
Yeah.
even on purpose, just like subconsciously, you're picturing like a different time.
Yeah, totally. But it's like supposed to be in the modern time, and I feel like that like brought us back, but also kind of like was like this is kind of a weird situation. Like
Hmm.
they're in this mansion estate, like watching The Ring. Like,
So like when this is supposed to be set in like the early 2000s, right?
yeah.
That's what I thought. And it took
So
me
it
a second to
probably
figure that
ends.
out.
So it probably ends more like yeah, like the 2010s, like when the
Hmm.
mom dies. But um, which is interesting. I wonder if that's just when they originally wrote the script.
Right.
Or maybe they just like I kind of had this theory that like all movies in the future should be set like in 2000 or before, so there's no cell phones to like ruin the plot.
Well, that's the thing too, is like they could have probably figured out everything about Oliver in 1 second. Like he wouldn't have conned them like he did
Yeah,
if they were able to like look him up and be like, your dad's alive.
yeah. Or even like I think he has his cell phone, like his mom calls his cell phone, but like today you can pretty much get a hold of anybody anywhere anytime. So it'd be weird to not hear from your mom for weeks. But
Right.
back then it would be less weird for that to
Hmm.
happen.
That's true.
Yeah, technology is ruining all of the movies. You know, I was looking over the surprise songs that Taylor Swift's been playing, and I thought they were from Debut, but they're actually all from Fearless, except for Teardrops on My Guitar. So I feel like she's like slowly getting back into those earlier eras, and
Hmm.
I feel like she's going to start working on Debut soon.
It's it. So is that just like the mashups that
Like
she's
she
been
did,
doing?
yeah, she's been doing like she did The Other Side of the Door, Come In With the Rain. And there was one other one from Fearless that is like it's just so twangy that when I heard it, I assumed it was from Debut. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh no, these are all from Fearless. But she did do Teardrops on My Guitar.
Do you think it has anything to do with Beyonce and Lana announcing their country albums? She's like,
Oh.
I'm country.
She's like, don't forget, I was a country star first.
Yeah. Or maybe she's just trying to get country in our heads because she's going to be on Beyonce's album.
She's trying to prime us.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She's like, we're heading in this direction.
collectively.
Yes, you're coming with me.
I like that. I hadn't thought about it, but I'm into it. I've been listening. I listened to Fearless last night and I was like, this is a freaking good album. Like she was just a little baby when she wrote it and it's so good.
I'm excited to hear it in like her grown-up voice.
Yeah.
It's going to be different, but it's going to be good.
When she does redo Taylor Swift, that album, it's been like 20 years. She's like a completely different person.
Yeah.
It's going to be a baby. Good. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to blow our damn mind.
I can't wait.
I will say, so like we had girls' night over last weekend and I mentioned like Taylor needs some competition in the music industry. And I will say this is the first time I have listened to Beyonce on purpose in years with her country stuff.
Yeah.
Texas Hold'em, me and my 3-year-old were getting down last night.
Texas Hold'em is the only one I've heard, but I did like it a lot. So
it is good.
Yeah, you're right though. We do need more. We need more artists that are competing with Taylor because people have been saying Taylor Swift is the music industry for like 5 years and like that can't go on forever.
So I think if anybody's going to give her a run for her money, it's Beyonce. Like apparently the key is to do multiple genres.
Yeah. Yeah. And Lana bringing up the rear, but
yeah.
I do like Olivia Rodrigo though, but she's not.
I like her a lot.
She's not on that level yet.
No,
but
she's good. Yeah. And I love Billie Eilish, but all her songs are pretty similar. They're good.
Yeah, she's not on the level.
Mm-mm.
Not yet. All right, that's all I got for today. Anything else? Well,
I don't think so.
We're your bitch pack friends. Talk to you later.
Bye.